From the A1 study of historical transformation, we learned how Manhattanville experienced a lot of erasure and how object-like towers were erected, creating isolation and boundaries in the neighborhood. As we approach the issue with the critics of erasure, we do not want to neglect the tower by proposing to remove or to erase, but to rather treat them as a historical artifacts by looking for strategies to bridge the boundaries that it creates.
According to Assignment 1 study about open spaces in Manhattanville of different scales, we found that except of the large-scale park and micro open spaces in the block, there were also a kind of macro open spaces that were actually larger than a block size. This kind of spaces are owned by either institution or residents and are only accessible for some specific group of people. These spaces, like a boundary, blocking the connection between the blocks. Just beside the site 2 is a macro open space. On the east side of the site, both of the Tower Residence and City University of New York Research Center have green space with fences and rarely accessed by public. Also on the west side of the site 2 at Broadway, there is a viaduct in the middle of the road, and the area under the bridge becomes a parking lot. For pedestrians, it's a place to cross the road, and there are also bus stops near the site, so this vehicle domain street is also linear boundary for people.
Here we study the physical boundaries set by fences and bare solid facade of tall or object-like buildings in the neighborhood. We treated the IRT subway viaduct as a large-scale fence that set up a huge boundary between Site 1 and Site 2. In response to investigating the physical boundaries, we looked into potential connection points that the pedestrian could experience on the ground level. We also looked into potential viewing spots to create the connection at the elevated levels, such as connection to Hudson River, glimpse to St. Nicholas Park, and to Lower Manhattan skyline.
We found that Site 2 sits on where object and fabric buildings meet. We're bridging the two types by proposing a contextualized object that builds relationship with its surrounding context. We also learned from our present studies in Assignment 2, from Deborah's Assignment to Present, which was also a L-shaped building. We learned both about the problem of light and usable area and the importance of the corner that L-shape creates, because corners are extremely important in Manhattanville for hosting important programs for the neighborhood. From my president, we learned that open ground space is very important for block connection, and also the porous wall inspired us to make use of the outdoor space to create a visual connection with the distant urban landscape. Here are our mass strategies. The L-shaped mass proposed the idea of slope courtyard, which connect viaduct to the tower residence. Porous mass want to create a series of open space in different dimensions to provide viewed connection in multiple ways, and then we hybrid these two schemes together to have our final version. And here we showed that how we bridging the boundaries. Pedestrian connection happens at ground floor and visual connection happens at upper level. And also we want to follow the height of the block on the north side and also the residential tower on the south side. And this connection also goes through the tower residence and serves as medium for connecting site 1 and site 3. Our affordable housing consists of private housing, student housing, and market rate rental units so that people can choose units according to their requirements. And also green space, children's playing facility and transportation connection will attract people from the surrounding areas to our community, and they will spend money on the public program like theaters, educational institutions and exhibitions. Then the profits will return to our communities so that it could reduce the cost of housing.
Community Performing Arts Learning Center as Plus Community Program serves as an extension of multifunctional event space and Columbia University Studio Theater, the two anchor programs. Considering menu restriction and limitation that the residents of Manhattanville houses experience under surveillance of both the police and the gang members, the Plus program aims to enhance the lives of youth and the kids of the neighborhood by implementing cultural program in the area. The elevated public plaza created between two L's provide open safe space for community to engage, people watch, and perform culture through arts and music. The social stairs leading to the elevated plaza make connection to the Tower House Park and serves as an informal amphitheater facing the tower. Site 2 sits on a property that is owned by Columbia University, and we propose a Plus program to operate in partnership with Columbia University and Harlem Children's Zone to empower the children and youth in the community. We also seek to look at the program of Harlem Children's Zone as a program president, along with president that exists outside of New York, such as Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago, and Yes We Camp's temporary projects in France that encourages public space created by the community. We'll also look into programs and outdoor spaces in the local parks such as Riverbank State Parks or St. Nicholas Park that the Tower House residents and many others in the